First of all, to get things straight, you are Canadian, right?
Oh well, that's a long story. Yes, on paper I'm Canadian. Yeah. I was born in Canada.
Okay.
Grew up in France, from English parents. I moved to America.
Oh, so now,
I know.
now you're based in Los Angeles?
Now I'm based in Los Angeles, yes.
Wow. And
Yes.
What does it take to get you to fly out here and do dates like this?
Well,
Don't tell me money.
No, it wasn't money at all. It wasn't money at all. No. It was when Marco called and was like, hey, do you want to spend a month of the summer in Italy?
Oh, okay.
I was like, hey, well, see, that's not a bad idea, I was like, do you want to go to...
Did you count on it being this muggy?
No, I didn't realize it was going to be quite this hot. It's been like over 100 every day with the humidity and everything. So no, it's been wildly hot. But you can't complain. It's pretty nice. The food, there's a different kind of pasta and there's beautiful food everywhere. There's nice wine. There's a show every 3 days. When you look at it that way, like, yeah, go on, I'll give it a go,
That's an easier rhythm than you're used to with other projects.
Yeah, no one does a show every 4 days. It's crazy, No, hang on. You want to go and stay in Florence for 3 days and Bari for 2 and, Imola for 3.
6 hours?
Yeah, well, it seemed like a good idea, You can't, it's hard to argue when it's like
So,
that kind of thing.
What did the production ask of you, and the artist in particular? What was asked of you to do here? What kind of a concept was it?
Well, it wasn't so much a concept. It was they'd heard me mix, and they wanted it to sound like that, which I guess is I don't know what that is. Me, I guess I think it's me as the band. I don't know how to tell put your finger on what exactly it is. But they liked what I'd done, so they wanted me to do that, and I think there was an element of experience. They wanted it to be relaxed because I guess I've done a lot of stadiums. I do a lot of I'm very lucky and blessed. I've done a lot of stadiums and it's fun. So I guess this is less stressful than it is to some people. So they thought it'd be easier if I just walk in and do what I normally do. Hopefully it should go well. So I hope it did. So they did.
I've heard it's going well.
I hope so. And then, you're going to hear it tonight and go, really? That racket is what they think is good. But no, hopefully.
So they were interested in your sound, perhaps because Cremonini is often considered in Italy a pop singer who tends to have a mix with his voice very much in the mix rather than out in front like a lot of other artists. Is that what they were looking for, maybe, or?
Yeah, I think so. And also because I didn't really think of it as I only realized when I landed in Italy, and it was from talking to Marco and saying, in Italy, obviously everyone needs to hear the words. And the voice needs to be louder, like it's a thing over here. And I believe in a lot of mainland Europe, it's a thing. And I didn't really think of it like that. I thought, well, you put the voice where I normally put it, and that's what I normally do. It's where you'd put any other voice that I've worked with. You'd put them in the mix with the music, and it would all sound natural. So we had a lot of conversations with Marco and in rehearsals, and then we go, okay, so what do you think there? We go there. What do you think there? And we play around with it, and we're like, okay, cool. I think we can keep the music, the intensity of the music, and make sure that obviously the kids can hear every single word of Cinquanta Special because it means a lot to a lot of people, So
you had to say that song because
I didn't realize how crazy they would go on the first day. So they were going pretty nuts, and then it just went like completely off the hill, like 50 Special. So
what did you ask for technically or was it just given to you? Sure, it wasn't.
No, I wouldn't have done it without my usual. I always use an SSL. I like the sound of it. By rack of outboard, you probably recognize some things if you've seen it, like the box I usually use. I always have a UAD and a Waves. It's quite handy, it's like a toolbox, isn't it? If someone says, hey, I need this, you're like, okay, and drag it in and say, like a tube tech on the bass, a usual TG1 on the drums, F7 on the drums, sort of a usual collection of toys. And I wanted K1 too. I wanted that acoustics. So I've always think outdoors it's just got so much energy to it and punch in the high end is really nice. I think over long distances like we have today, it just works really well.
When K1 first came out, I think is the last time that we talked. So you were saying that you were doing it indoors at that time, and you were like not for that.
No, and K1, when it first came out, K1, I didn't like it. The amps were wrong. And when they came out with the new 12 ones, suddenly it just became a whole new box. It just came alive. Yeah.
Of PA, Marco said that you work a whole lot in tweaking the PA to your needs.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I feel like it's my responsibility. If the manager walks over there and goes, "Can't hear the voice on delay tower 3," like, well, actually, I was there this afternoon and I heard it. I know you want to be able to look the guy in the eye and say, well, I know I did. I listened to it and I checked every part of this system and it was all working. And also making, carving it into what I want it to sound like, because you got to match my mix to what the PA guy puts up. And there's always a minute of going, okay, oh, I see where you're going. Okay, you're going that way, and I'll tweak that and you tweak that and we'll get to somewhere, So yeah, it was more matching up what we were doing. And
I remember that you mix very, very, very hands-on. You're not so much of a next kind of guy. Is that still true?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. You gotta have some fun. I mean, otherwise you're like the lighting guy with the time code, just sitting there waiting for it to happen. So I think it's more fun if you play with it. Yeah. I mean, it's time. We are. There's time code on everything these days. Just for, if he wants to change a song or something, it just recalls the correct one, and then I always build from there. But yeah, I like to move things, and I always think all of it's to do with like emotion. Like if the crowd are getting into something and there's a synth part or a little bit more kick, or make them go. Like you sort of, you go with the crowd too. Try and give them. You want them to dance. That's the end of the concept is to get them excited. And not to like mess with my reverb, I don't know if it's probably expressing that wrong, but the concept is to get them excited. Whether that's the fun of the whole thing. So you just move it around until they dance more and more and more.
So how much automation are you using with?
Just scenes for the songs.
Are you recalling your outboard as well, or?
Delays and the UADs, a few presets in there that's the switch in and out. Just a few sounds, but mostly just scenes, song scenes. Yeah, I'm not chasing time code the whole way and doing like individual moves. I'd like to do them manually. I thought about it originally, but then I thought, well, I'll just get into it, and yeah. So no, there's just scene movement.
Are you still just mixing with a stereo out? Or are you just running stereo out to the amps?
Yeah. I've always done it that way, and I've never seen some people get great results doing the aux thing and the other different parts of it, but maybe I grew up on a stereo. Just grew up as a stereo guy, and I have full control in my tablet and on the PA. So if I want more bass, if the low end needs to come up, I'll just wave at Maxime and just up and.
So Maxime's here?
Yeah, we have Maxime Menelek and Elise Tricard so yeah, that works. I like to do it more that way than if I want more bass, I just turn up my aux. I'd rather just talk to the PA guy and then do it as a phase coherent thing. And so yeah, just straight stereo for me.
Let's talk about working for an Italian production a little bit. I know it's a completely different rhythm than what you're used to. What do you think about coming in and doing a tour with a stage this big and it's just 8 or 10 dates? What's kind of
It's slightly strange because we're just getting going. It's like 8 shows is most rehearsals are longer than this tour, So it's more the rhythm of it that's strange to be done now because I'm really getting into it, Now you iron out all the problems in the first couple of shows and you sort of get to a rhythm, and now we're on a roll. So we should do another year of it.
Instead of a 0 date, you've got like a 0 tour.
Yeah, exactly. We've done all the hard work. Now let's have some fun. Let's head out in the countryside and enjoy ourselves. It's a strange thing to just do such a small, especially because it's all super. To these guys, it's super high pressure because every day is your hometown gig. You're never more than a few hours from your hometown. So everything is friggin' Wembley Stadium. Every day is Wembley Stadium. So it's a lot more pressure for these guys.
How do they hold up?
They're doing good, actually. They're doing good. I mean, it's a tough. I just got it's like the summer of chaos this year because everybody wants to tour, and the kids all bought their tickets in 2018, 19, and 2020. They bought all the tickets already, so everyone's coming out, everybody wants to tour, and half the industry is doing something else for a living now because they've had 2 years off. So there's no staff, there's no local crew, and so there's a bit of a chaos involved. But no, they're doing a great job. It's kind of fun.
One of the things that we spoke with Marco about is that he's got a kind of a figure in the production which is a little bit it's anomalous for Italian productions anyway. Do you like having a single person who's the reference for the audio? How do you get along with Marco, and how did you work together with him?
With Marco? Yes. Oh, it was fun. Yeah, we became friends. I mean, we hadn't actually met, and then we became friends as the rehearsals went along. We just became friends. So it just sort of happened. We didn't really discuss the. You're like, hey, what do you think? You're like, what do you reckon of that? What do you reckon of that? And then we just sort of.
How much input do you receive from him, or?
I mean, Cesare gave us a lot of input at the beginning of rehearsals. Cesare was quite specific of what he wanted. So from that point of view, he'd come in and listen every day and go, okay, cool, that part's working, and then he'd go back next door and like, okay, guys, let's try it like this, let's try it like that, and they'd figure it out, and then he'd come back and listen. So he had a lot of input. Yeah, but once we're out here, you sort of, because the other thing, rehearsals are cool, but when you get out here, you've got to tailor it to the size of the barn. It's fine when you've got a pair of Genelecs to try to make you're trying to recreate the album with a pair of Genelecs. It's very different when you get out here and there's wind and humidity and the kids are shouting over the top of all of it. It changes a bit, yeah.
The state of the equipment and the crew that you found here. What do you think of that?
I mean, it's the same stuff. I mean, it's K1, it's an SSL. They built me this fantastic rack. It was brand new. I mean, it's this brand new thing. I mean, the gear's all here. I mean, all of it's the same idea. It's just that they do it as events instead of a tour. Really, it's like a one-off. They're all one-offs, 3 or 4 days apart, instead of like a rolling. You know, when you get on a roll and everyone puts up the same. Yeah, it's also slightly strange the way that I didn't realize over here the way it's configured, the way that the production is the promoter. Yes, it's a very strange thing to get used to that, because like when I do Depeche Mode, Tony Gitting's the production manager. He's a friend of mine. He's also the boss, but he works for the band. So we're here as a common goal, as friends and as a team that go everywhere to do this one thing. Yeah, so it's strange when it's the promoter
and also the agency.
And they book the tickets, they book the thing, and they choose the PA. So it's a very you're in. There's a box. You got to fit in the box because that's what it is. You know. So it's just slightly strange, but it works. Obviously, it works in Italy, and I understand. As Marco was explaining to me how it would be tricky, because obviously when you're only doing 8 stadium shows, you don't have a lot of buying power, I guess, in the sense that you would if you were doing a 18-month worldwide tour. It's just a different thing. When you may have sold stadiums, but you're only doing 8 of them. So it's a strange thing.
What else you've been working on recently since the last time?
Right, damn, yeah, that was a while ago. I'm in Depeche Mode for the last many tours it's been.
I guess that's at least in pause right now.
Yeah, I mean, poor Fletch. It's such a that was a dark moment in the history. Yeah, we had the funeral was a couple of weeks ago now. It was a nice moment. It was nice to everyone got together and we got to say goodbye to him. And but I mean, I hope it carries on. I think it will. I think Fletch would want it to carry on. I don't think he would be like the end of it. So.
It'd be a hard person to replace.
Yeah, he was a huge personality amongst the camp, you know, and a very entertaining bloke too. You know, he was good fun, yeah. So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get into a downer. What else?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, obviously there was this pandemic in the middle, and for that I was very lucky. The Foo Fighters in the middle of the pandemic called me and they needed someone to look after the stage, because Ian Beveridge, who's been there for 30 years, was stuck in Canada when there was a 2-week quarantine. So every time if he had to come to LA every week, he would essentially have to move to LA for a year for the whole pandemic. So we did this really fun thing where we set up as like a remote mix thing. So I would stand at the console and have a Zoom and a microphone, and he'd have a camera and he'd have control of the console. And we figured out the monitor thing. He was still mixing monitors but through this camera, and then I had a mic, and I would explain to him what he couldn't see, and then it was a really cool thing. It was kind of fun.
So he was zooming, and you were hands-on.
Well, he had control. He had it on his computer at home, so he had control of the console as well. So I would set up as if he was there, and then plug him in, and he would be at home. It was this really cool thing going. So he was mixing the show, and Dave and the band could see his face on the screen that was sat next to the console. I put up a little screen there next to me with his face, so they could see him. So if they'd wave and go, "Hey," and up, and they'd be, "Okay, no worries," and they'd turn it up. And so that was a good fun thing to do so I had a lot of fun doing that with the band, doing it.
Wow! I didn't want to get off on this tangent, but isn't that risky?
Yeah, I mean, Ian's not shy, and it wouldn't have worked with some people. Probably wouldn't know how to put it off, but Ian has known them for a long time, and it wasn't scared. Because I mean, you're doing a loud rock band from home, 5,000 miles away. So, yeah. But he knew, once you've memorized all your fader positions, you kind of know, okay, I'm at +5. I'm pushing it. You know where your feedback zone are and where you're sitting in the whole thing. So no, he did an amazing job, and it was really fun to do.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it was a pretty mad thing to do for a rock band. I mean, we did Madison Square Garden with him, remotely. So it was a really cool thing to watch.
Wow.
And it worked. I mean, it worked. I think. And the band, I mean, they're a cool band. They're such a nice bunch of guys that they were like, "Oh, this is funny. Check it out. Yeah, how's Ian doing today?" And they'd go up to the TV and wave at him and say hi. And it was a fun thing to do. And they were cool, so they went along with it, and it worked really well.
Oh. So but they couldn't do that for you, so you could stay at home in Los Angeles and do.
Well, I've been working on that. Yeah, because it would be even easier from front of house, because you've only got one mix to do. You don't have like seven, almost 9 of them on stage for that. So
we're looking at the future here.
I think it is. I think it is. You could, and you could technically mix a European and an American gig on the same day. You could do 2 tours at once. So no, it's a.
You could get paid for 2 tours at once as well.
Exactly, and then you
from home,
your own bed, or you get paid twice and be in your own bed.
That's amazing.
So it's a very cool thing. I hope it works out more in the future. But
I'm certain it will. If it's been done, it's going to be done more.
They've done a few other things like that too. A few TV shows and other things have used the same idea after we started playing with it. So it's kind of. It was fun to be part of, and they're nice. Really, the organisation and management, they're all super nice. So I had a good time. I mean, it's not what I normally do, but hey, it's a pandemic. No one needs a front of house guy in a pandemic, do they? So it was no mass gathering, no front of house work. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll give that a shot. And it went on. It was fun.
Sorry, I'm a little blown away by that. I guess let's get back to us here. So what are you mixing? Who's in the band here? Because how much is it? I don't know how much it's changed since the last time I saw Cesare.
I think it's the same. Yeah, I mean, there's Gary Novak on drums. Obviously, Paolo, who's been here since 1999, as Cesare says. We have Doc, the MD, Alessandro Di Crescenzo, Morelli, who I think has been here a long time. Bruno plays keyboards. Gigi and Roberta are amazing backing singers, as you probably know them. They're fairly famous around here, aren't they? And Davide Rossi on violin. And Cesare obviously plays keyboards and guitar and sings along. So I think it's the same size. I think last time there were some trumpets and
there were horns on the last tour.
Horns and brass and stuff on the last one.
Of course, that's been several years ago, just because of pandemic.
Yeah, everything has been a while. So they're great. Yeah, they're a great band. And
any particular challenges you've had?
No, the only thing is that Cesare likes to be in the middle. He likes to be amongst it and feel the crowd. So as you'll notice later, he sings 90% of the show from right there in the middle, in front of the PA.
Great.
With a headset and an acoustic guitar on like Qualcosa di Grande.
At least you don't have a center cluster, but.
Yeah. That's why I mean. So that would say that's probably the most challenging.
How do you deal with that?
Well, one of these things are pretty cool. The 5045s. That'll clamp down on a lot of the feedback and noise that comes through, and then you just be real careful with the the fader, because Faut qu'il vole, ouais. Mais peut-être à la fin, sinon ça va lui changer la lumière, non? So that was the only main challenge. And I also didn't want to. You don't want to like stamp his creativity. If a guy wants to sing in the middle, I'm not going to go. You're not going to say, "Hey, of course, go for it."
Outboard and not doing anything strange with the PA, like placing vocals out on a single cluster or anything like that. Nothing extra at all here.
Yeah, just with the 50-45. So you don't want to change the show for it. Like the show has to stay the same, and I don't want to stop him from having fun. So you don't want to go right. You have to stay over there. That's not fun. He wants to stay there. I'll adapt. I'll figure out how to make it work. That was so that was a little challenge, but it's not a.
Well,
the rest is.
I've I've about run out of questions. Is there anything that comes to mind that technically that maybe you're doing that would be particularly interesting?
It's always hard to tell what's interesting, what I found that's interesting, or I think crazy, really. I mean, well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe someone might think it's crazy, but I don't just.
We'll ask Marco later if you're doing something.
Yeah, maybe Marco will think that. I can't believe he did that. Yeah, it's always hard to sell because this is just what I don't. You sort of have a starting point of where you think it's what your ears want it to sound like. So you're just going to go and do a lot of the usual things you would use, like the drum bass and the de-esser on here is really handy, and that things you can play with the high end on depending on where he's at in the song. And more stuff like that than any particular. There's no real trick to sort of turn it on. Just turn it on and start going, and then you go, okay, that could use this, and a lot of talking to the band as well, and going, hey, what do you like with Gary? It was great because we're in rehearsals and like, oh, hey, how do you fancy that snare for this song, and how do you fancy that one for this one, and and he's got a few samples, stuff like Kimika has a sample which in the song needs, you have to play it, so we played around with a lot of that kind of stuff, like whether we would layer it or whether we'd have it on the separate pad, and like more like building it versus like. Yeah, I think to me that's the most fun part of it in rehearsals is working with those guys versus just trying to EQ everything. Don't if it's not broken, leave it all flat and let's have a listen. And then go, hey, how about you play a bit of that? Or that mic's not working, let's change that mic, and you sort of build it from up there, and then you start attacking the EQ, because then you just see if you can make that the best possible, the cleanest that can be, and then you start attacking it from here,
Very old-fashioned way of working, putting your ears down where the mics are supposed to be.
Yeah, maybe it's slightly old school, yeah, but just put plugins on everything, and
a lot of people do that.
Triggers and plugins everywhere, and then you don't have to worry about what the band does. But I think it's more fun. It's more of I think it feels more personal to the kids if they're hearing, if it sounds more real, It sounds like if you're looking at what you're hearing, instead of this massive sound and you're just hitting a tiny little thing and this massive sound comes out, it doesn't feel real. I feel like it sounds more real, because most of this to me is about emotion and not really about technical. It's not really technical perfection. I mean, you can spend all day being perfect and the wind will blow and the perfection's gone out the window. So and the kid, I mean, you look at them all down here, they're not going, do you think like we should turn down 1K on the piano? They just want to go. They don't want to jump up and down, sing, and and just always standing there. He's like this, like rock Latin lover dude, and all the chicks think he's hot. It's emotional and more primal than it is technical to me. Most of this, you just want to get a good low end and to get them dancing. Then hopefully they'll have fun and go home thinking it was great.